Hello children, this is Manish Yadav and today I am going to do remaining episodes for the chapter Birth for class 11th. This chapter has been narrated by A.J. Cronin and in this video we are going to cover the remaining portions from this paragraph or the separate sense of defeat, praised on him, erasing hopelessness. As we discussed about the paragraphs and its explanation, in which Andrew Manson was effortlessly doing hard work to resuscitate and give rebirth the child as well as the mother. He did hard struggle and the process by injecting the mother to deliver the child, and the child was delivered but it was lifeless. Okay, so what happened after that? Andrew Manson tried hard to resuscitate the child, and the process which he saw anywhere to blow the oxygen through the mouth by himself, and he wanted to rebirth the child. But there was not a single moment after doing this activity. And what happens finally, let you know through this paragraph. A desperate sense of defeat passed on him. He became hopeless, erasing hopelessness. He became just dissipated, disappointed. Okay, because he was unsuccessful in his methodology and he could not rebirth the child yet. He felt the midwife watching him in stark consternation. He felt that midwife was watching him very strangely in a stark consternation, and while they pressed again against the wall where she had all the time remained. And another posture he was remembering, the lady was still remained at the place where he was standing for hours, and he was watching the expressions of Andrew Manson, that what is he doing, and there is not a single movement in the child. Her hand pressed to her throat, uttering no sound, her eyes burning upon him. It seems that the lady was getting angry on Andrew Manson because of no result in the child's movement. Andrew Manson was just operating the case, and he was handling it very carefully, but there was not single response in the body of child. So the lady was eagerly waiting when the child would be resuscitated. He was trying his hard, but the old lady was getting angry, because it is the human nature. They all are in hurry. They want the result on spot and immediately without waiting any longer. So the lady was in hurry and she was uttering no sound. Okay, she was pressing her throat, her neck, but not uttering a sound. Her eyes burning upon him. As I told you, she was getting angry at Andrew Manson. Was the old woman. Okay, Mrs. Suzanne's mother. She was Mrs. Suzanne's mother, who was standing by the wall and watching the doctor and the processes which he was doing, but there was no response after doing that all. So she was getting angry. He remembered her longing for the grandchild as great as had been her daughter's longing for this child. The doctor remembered the promises that he did with Mrs. Suzanne's mother, that this child is more lovable and just close to the, as much as it is important for Mrs. Suzanne, it is important for Mrs. Suzanne's mother also. So all dashed away now, futile beyond remedy. He thinks that this all has gone to be lost and dashed. It has no just fertility, and it is fertile, useless beyond the remedy. Means the remedy and methodology and the process which he adopted to resuscitate the child was useless. The floor was now a draggled mess. It was just like the dustbin. Okay, all the articles were lying here and there on the floor, and it was just like a dustbin. Okay, this arrangement of the articles and things over there. Stumbling over a sopping towel, Andrew almost dropped the child, which was now wet and slippery in his hand like a strange white fish. Stumbling over a sopping, he moved his step over a towel. It was lying on the floor. He kept his step on the towel. Andrew almost dropped. Okay, he took the child, which was now wet. The child was all over wet and slippery. The body of child was slipping in his hand like a strange white fish. Simile figure of speech has been used in this line, like a strange white fish. Okay, as you catch the fish, okay, it slips in our hand. If you have ever tried to catch a fish, it will slip in the hand because it is very slippery, it is very soft. So it was sleeping, I mean the body of child was sleeping in doctor's hand. For mercy's sake, doctor, whimpered the midwife, it's stillborn. Whimpered means midwife spoke hardly. Doctor, for mercy's sake, try another chance, please, because it is stillborn. The child recently has been delivered. So just you should try another chance, please. Andrew did not need her beaten, and Andrew did not want to refuse and ignore her suggestion. Despairing, having labored in vain for half an hour, he still persisted in one last effort. Andrew, he was despairing, having labored in vain for half an hour. He was tired and exhausted. His energy was exhausted and he was completely tired. But still, he was persisted. He was energetic and just enthusiastic to try one chance more. Rubbing the child, he now started to rub the child frequently with a rough towel. He was rubbing the child with the help of a rough towel. It was his last effort, I think. Crushing and releasing the little chest with both his hands, trying to get breath into that limp body. Crushing, he was pressing as well as releasing the little chest of the child. As you could see, when people suffers from heart problem and breathing, we must press the chest of people to rebirth and resuscitate them. So just he was crushing, pressing and releasing the little chest of the child with his both hands, just in order to resuscitate and rebirth the child, trying to get breathe into that limp body. Okay, and he was trying to blow oxygen, just mouth to mouth, okay, to give oxygen in his body. It was a process in which we blow the air or oxygen, just going near the mouth to mouth to a child. So he was doing so. What happens next in the paragraph? And then, as by a miracle, the pygmy chest, small, very little chest, it was a miracle. Okay, as by a miracle, as magic happens over there. What happened? The pygmy chest, which his hands enclosed, gave a short. Okay, it took a breath, single breath. It was just a magic. Convulsive heave, another and another. Means the child began to breathe, another and another. He started breathing. It was a miracle for the doctor. Andrew turned giddy and he shocked. What is going on? This is first time in my life ever I did not meet with such cases in my previous life. So he was shocked watching all what was going on. The sense of life is springing beneath his fingers after all that unavailing striving was so exquisite. It almost made him faint. The sense of life, just there was sign, there was symptom of life is springing. It was bouncing beneath the fingers of doctor, and all that unavailing striving. After unavailing, there was no response after doing such a hard struggle and efforts, but this time the child began to breathe. Was so exquisite, it almost made him faint, and it was very strange, so that he was shocking and just gone to be crazy. What is going on with me? He redoubled his efforts feverishly. He did not give up. He tried another and another. The child was gasping now. He was breathing normally, deeper and deeper. The child was breathing deeply. Means normally he began to breathe. It was the moment of joy for the doctor, and it was encouraging him to redouble his efforts feverishly without getting tired. The child was gasping now. Dear children, I hope you all are being focused and watching the text where I am reading out now. You must pay attention while we go through the text where I am reading. He redoubled his efforts feverishly, and the child was gasping now, deeper and deeper. A bubble of mucus came from one tiny nostril, a joyful, iridescent bubble. Okay, a bubble of mucus. Cough means just it was like a liquid which was coming from his tiny nostril, a joyful iridescent bubble. It was the sign of joy, okay, because the doctor think the child has been resuscitated and now he is living. The limbs were no longer boneless, and the limbs means boneless body was no longer boneless. It seems that bones are there in the child's body. The head no longer lay back spinelessly, and now he was moving his head also. It was no longer spinelessly. Spineless means the bone and the structure began to take its place. The child began to take its breathe and just movement. Frequently I am using the child as non-living because he was still non-living, but he is breathing now, so we must use he pronoun for that, not it and its. The blanched skin was slowly turning pink then. Unless the child was live, his skin was blanched, just white alloys color, slowly now turns into pink color, then exquisitely came to the child's cry. Now he began to cry. Dear Father in heaven, the nurse sobbed hysterically. It's come alive. The boy has come alive. So just the Father in the heaven, he began to pray to the God, and Father in the heaven, it's come, it's life. Andrew handed her the child. He felt weak and dazed. Andrew gave the child to the hand of nurse, and he was weak and dazed, exhausted. About him, the room lay in a shuddering litter, blanket, towel, basins, swallowed instruments, hypodermic syringe impaled by its point in the linoleum. The ewer knocked over the kettle on its side, a puddle of water. I mean, these all are the articles who are lying on the floor in the verse. Upon the huddled bed, the mother still dreamed uh, her way quietly through the anesthetic. Now, the condition of mother is described in this line. She was still dreamed her quietly through anesthetic. She was unconscious. Okay, she was not in the consciousness. The old woman still stood against the wall, but her hands were together. She was praying. Okay, her hands were together. She was joining her hand and praying to the God. Her lips moved without sound. She was whispering something. She was praying. Okay, mechanically, Andrew wrung out his sleeves, pulled on his jacket. Okay, just he took a normal position, doctor, and he wrung out his sleeves. Just he folded out his sleeves and pulled on his jacket. He took his jacket. I'll fetch my bag later, nurse. He says to nurse that I'll carry my bag later. Okay, I'll not take it right now. I'll take it later. He went downstairs through the kitchen into the scullery. Scullery is the place where utensils are washed. Okay, a room for washing dishes for the similar work, you can say. His lips were dry. Okay, he did not drink some drop of water since he came to 12 Blenner Terrace. At the scullery, he took a long drink of water. He took sufficient amount of water to eradicate his thirst. He reached for his hat and coat. He collected his all the stationeries except bag like hat, coat. Outside, he found Joe standing on the pavement with the tense, expectant face. When he goes outside, he saw Joe is standing over there on the pavement with a tense. He was just stressed, in tension, you can say. Expectant face means something would be better as his face was expecting. All right, Joey, he said thickly. Both all right. Doctor muttered to Joey Morgan. Everything is fine, all right. They both are right, mother and child. It was quite light, nearly 5 o'clock. Now it is the time of dusk, early morning at 5 o'clock, when he was successful to operate the mother and deliver the child as well as resuscitate the child. It was a great experience in Dr. Andrew's life. A few miners were already in the street. The first of the night shift moving out. Miners were already in the street. Just you could say all the laborers who were working in the coal industry were coming outside after doing their night shift to their home. The first of the night shift moving out. Okay, as I told you recently, the laborers group after doing their night shift, they were going back to their home early in the morning. As Andrew walked with them, he began to walk with them, just moving along with the labors of coal industry, spent and slow, his footfalls echoing with the other under the morning sky. He kept thinking blindly, oblivious, and to all other work he had done in Blanley. Means he could not recall anything else except the case which he operated recently. Means he operated the mother and the child. So everything was over, and still he was recalling all the incidents which took place recently in his life and in his great experience. So he was not thinking something else about that. I have done something. Oh God, I have done something real at last. And finally, he thanks to himself that I did my job very loyally and carefully, faithfully. I did something today. Oh my God, I have done something. He was very happy. Okay, now this chapter has been finished here, and you will revise and re-explain all the paragraphs very carefully. I hope, dear children, thanks and keep learning.